Well, hello YouTube, how you going? Not too bad at the moment myself. Pretty much getting there at the moment. I'm just, I've worked out something myself though. My current power supply is about 1,000 watt. Yes, it's 1,000 watt plus 1,100 peak. Now, I figured out something that I think I might get a little bit better frame rate, so I might have a little more run through if I get a 1,000. I'm going for, not this week, next week after, I'm going to get a brand new power supply, which is going to be, let me just adjust this for a second, which is going to be, 1,200 watt. 130 maximum output is 1,300 watt, and it's going to be a gold certified power supply. My current one is a silver certified power supply. I just think, you know, it's going to give it a bit more grunt, and I have got a lot of stuff in my system to start with. So, in point of reference, I'd rather get that extra power just to have that extra grunt and put that extra power into the system. I've noticed a few of my voltages are slipping down where I don't like them to be slipping down to, and yeah, I'd rather actually get a higher wattage power supply. So anyway, I'm going to get a new wattage power supply, which is going to be about 1,200 watt. That's pretty much going to be for everything, to replace my current 1,000 watt, which is a Silverstone as well. I'll be getting a Silverstone again, same brand. Similar model, except I think it's about the same model. It's sort of a similar model to my last one, except it's the gold rated one instead of being the silver rated one. My Silverstone set power supply, that has done me justice though. It's done me a fair amount of work, and it does do a fair amount of load when you need to do stuff. And for a lot of the stuff you do on the lower end of the spectrum, especially stuff you're doing on the computer, which involves you know, like your basic gaming stuff, with one card in there and, like, you know, a few hard drives, I don't think I'd have a problem with that power supply basically, you know, being able to give enough power out. That's my plan, gonna get that. What else? Pretty much just planning to do that. I've also ordered myself a new phone as well, because I was having a couple of issues with this one losing a bit of battery life, so the battery life is supposed to actually be longer on my new phone. The new phone is a Desire. It's a HTC. This is the HTC One. I don't know if you can actually see that, but this is the HTC One, which I've currently got. It's a dual-core processor. It's got an 8-megapixel camera. It's got some pretty good features on it, and I love the HTC brand in general. They're a good brand. That's the reason that the new phone I got was a HTC. It was just a newer model, basically. It was basically the HTC Desire with like a quad-core processor for graphics and all the other stuff, and yeah, it's a Snapdragon processor. It's 1.2 quad core, if I remember correctly. This is dual core. Actually, the hardware specs on this one. See, because I originally actually thought this was a quad core, but I was actually a bit wrong on that, which wasn't actually my fault. It was actually the box that it came in when I ordered it. Must have been wrong at the time, and I didn't realise it until I actually went into the specs of the phone itself. But that's not an issue anyway. The phone has served me well, and it's done well so far. I'll probably end up selling it off. I'll probably end up selling it off for $150 or something like that, most likely, because it's unlocked. Shit. So, settings, into about. Software legal hardware information. So currently it's got 1 gig of RAM, which my new one will have the same thing. I think my new one's similar display. Display might be a bit lower, but it's got the same type of 8-megapixel camera. Got wireless A, B, G, and N. Bluetooth, obviously. It'll have a quad-core processor instead of a dual-core, this is a dual-core on this one at the moment. It'll have 1 gig, which is the same. It'll have about 8 gigabytes of memory. It'll have a memory card slot, whereas this one does not have a memory card slot. It only has the onboard memory, which is 16 gigabytes, which has served me well. I'd put a bit of music on it. I mean, I'll be honest, I'll probably put a bit more music on. I'm currently using that memory card in my tablet, which has worked well so far for me. I might end up getting a what did I actually put? That's a good question. I actually wonder where I put my oh, hold on a second. I can swap it back. It's alright, I'll just swap it back. That's alright, I'll swap it back to my, I've got the 16 gig memory card, so I can swap that back on my tablets. Because I've got 16 gig that I got with my tablet. I just swap that back, so this will give my tablet back at 16 gig. And the current one, which you can see, I don't know whether you can actually see it or not. Would I focus, fucker? Come on, focus. Seriously. That's seriously fucking retarded. Yeah, it's got a special. Yeah. I'm trying to get focused in on that. It actually, what it says is, it says SanDisk Ultra 32 gig memory card. On the other hand, I can get a high capacity memory card now if I choose to, because my new phone's going to be able to take up to 128 gigabyte card, which is cool, by the way. I'm quite happy with that, and I'll be interesting to see exactly what 128 gigabyte cards do come down to. eBay. I'm just going to try to check on eBay and see what their prices are for 128 gig cards. I'm curious, because, I mean, that's the maximum amount it'll go. But the new cards, I mean, originally the other cards were 60, the new ones were 64 and 128, I think, was the newest ones that are sort of coming out now. So micro SD cards, okay, well, micro SD card, Samsung Galaxy card, micro SD HC card, high capacity is is 50 bucks. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's actually a pretty good price. Depending on the card you want to get, of course. If it's a SanDisk Ultra card, it's 119. But I mean, depending on the card you want to get, depending on the size. Sizes are not too varied, so they're actually pretty good. So I'm looking at this one here, which is a Samsung, for Samsung Galaxy S models. It's 128 gigabyte card. It's only 50 bucks. So that's pretty good considering price range. So what I may end up doing at a later date is maybe upgrading. I don't know, or maybe I'll just keep this card and just go with this for the time being. I mean, I've really never had any more than 32 gig in my system. I mean, the only other thing I think was maybe a 64 gigabyte card if it's a bit cheaper, which obviously is going to be a bit cheaper if you can get 128 gig for 50 bucks on eBay. Anyway, that's not a bad one. That's a pretty good card. This one that I got with my it's a Kingston, which is a 16 gigabyte card, which I can put in my. Well, see, I figure if I replace the one in here and I put it into, for example, this, or, you know, I put this one into my tablet, and then put the other one into my, let's say the 64 gig or the 128 gig one into my phone, then I can have the 64 gig one, I can have the 32 gig one in my tablet, and I can have the 64 128 one in my, pretty much in my, pretty much in my phone, if I choose to. And to be honest, I was getting a bit restrictive, because it was getting a bit restrictive in the sense of how many apps I could fit there, and, you know, a combination of things. Basically, it's not that this phone bothered me, it's a great phone, don't get me wrong. I love the phone, I've been using it for a long time now. I just, basically, I wanted something a little, with a few more options in the sense of memory card stuff. It takes a micro SIM in this phone here. It runs pretty well. I've got the latest Android operating system on it, which I've updated and upgraded. What is this? It's got the Beats audio and stuff and everything else built into it, so it's got that for like audio and things like that. What else? It's got Beats audio, combination of different stuff with Beats audio and things like that. What else? Is there anything else I can think really offhand that? Restart the applications on my phone. Oh yeah. Basically, I don't know. I just wanted something with a quad-core processor. Basically, because most of my stuff has switched over. Pretty much all my stuff has switched over to quad cores. My tablet's a quad core, which I'm quite happy with, and I'm good with the performance on that one. My phone's only a dual core. I'd rather have a quad core, to be honest. I just want to switch everything over to a quad core, basically. And HTC, because I've got the wizard and everything else, I can transfer all the information over from my old HTC to my new one, which is fantastically easy, easier than trying to get another brand phone. So I figured, fuck it, I'll just basically get an upgraded HTC. I've been mucking around and using this. My only complaint about after using this for a while is the battery life is a little bit poor sometimes. It will last a fair amount of time. It just doesn't feel like that long. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 days, I think, is the maximum it's meant to last, the battery power on this. I charge it via the computer, via USB port. And look, most of the time it's okay. It's just, I do get a lot of a notification, so maybe that does drain the battery on this watch. This is the Samsung smartwatch, which, to be honest, it's a good watch. It fits in with any phone that you put it with, basically. And, I mean, it's got a lot of apps and stuff. I've mucked around with a few of them. I like the Twitter notifications, Facebook notifications, being able to look at notifications when I get them, seeing if I'm mobile, if I have an SMS message from someone, checking my phone numbers, or if somebody is called, or I can make calls directly from. Well, I don't know whether I can actually make calls directly from this, but yeah, I was doing that before anyway. But anyway, my point is, it's got a myriad of features which I like, and it's not a bad little watch. I don't know, I'd be interested to see where the generation 2 of this sort of goes and how long the battery life will go. But I think that's about my only complaint with this watch, is the battery life. It doesn't seem to last as long as I would expect it to in some situations. Then saying that, I got the same complaint about my phone too. So that's sort of the thing. Not so much about my tablet. My tablet, the battery life is excellent. It rarely runs out of battery very often. I can go to like 9 or 10 days sometimes without charging the battery, and that's just by leaving it, around the area, or just sitting on the thing. But I'm just wondering, the battery life on my phone and on my watch doesn't seem to be as much as you would expect in a given situation. I would like a total water resistant. I mean, this is technically water resistant, but waterproof, or splash proof sort of thing. Wouldn't immerse it in water, but I would like to see something that's actually water resistant to a certain depth in a smartwatch. That would be fantastic. Something that, definitely would last on that point of reference. I mean, there's as I said, that's about the only two complaints I've had about that. Everything else has been going pretty well so far. I recently got an SLI Pro Bridge, which is a cool little LED light, which is quite nice. It's good for aesthetic value. I mean, I got it mostly for the aesthetic value, but I also got it for the fact that it updates a lot of the... some people were saying to me, if you were having issues with flickering with your 4K monitor and things like that, it can adjust some of that, and it can actually get rid of that. Well, I don't know, because a lot of the SLI bridges that I had lying around were much older, and they probably a lot of the SLI bridges have gone through reversions. So I figured I'll get the Pro SLI bridge, which is the newest one, which I put that in. I've got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 SLI bridges as spares, newer ones, just in case. At a later date, if that one fails or if something happens to it, if something happens to it that basically, it conks out or whatever, it just, fucks up or conks out. It's always good to have some spare stuff anyway. So I got 3 of those normal SLI bridges, which I think that just says SLI on them, and they're basic. They don't light up or anything like the EVGA one, which the EVGA one is quite cool. I like it very much so. What else? sorry, I'm just checking my temperatures at the moment on my computer. But yeah, look, all down to the different factors in my mind, and the honest truth of the situation is that I have noticed. Okay, I have noticed that my temperatures are staying low. They're staying low. Funny part is, I put some new thermal paste on. It was like this Arctic Silver or some other Cooler Master stuff that I was using at the time. I put some Arctic Silver. I have some Arctic Silver now, a 12 gram tube of it basically, in case I want to use it. And now, the interesting part about that stuff and those types of CPU paste and stuff, they do actually lower the temperatures. So I've noticed a significantly better temperature at idle than in comparison to before. My temperatures are a lot better at idle. But I also noticed something as well. What I've done is I've had to jerry rig it to the back of my motherboard. In my case, to basically there's a jerry rig, a small CPU fan, which was just basically a CPU fan I grabbed off an AMD heatsink. I've jerry rigged it by sticking like duct taping it into the back of my motherboard on the plastic part. Basically, what I've done is I've made sure that this basically I haven't plugged it in the first place, but I stuck it to the back, right behind the actual CPU, where the bridge area is, like right underneath where your CPU would be. A lot of heat gets, especially for the AMD, the 9370 pumps a lot of heat out that direction in general. So your temperatures will be ultimately better if you put something at the back of that. The PCB, I think they call it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there should be, like as I said, at the back of it, I found that putting something at the back is the only way it seems to be actually being able to nicely cool it, reasonably cool it, so it's not boiling hot all the time, or the temperatures aren't flying up dramatically at any given time, which is great. It's fantastic. I'm quite happy with that so far, and I'm pretty miffed. I've also noticed that the thermal compound I use has helped as well. The thermal conductiveness of that compound and how well it transfers heat from the CPU to the water cooling helps vastly. Now, yes, that is part of it, and then part of it is putting something in the back of it, basically. Something at the back of it, right at the back of the CPU on the motherboard, just to dissipate heat. Fantastic so far. I'm also replacing one of my drives in my computer, which is replacing it with another HD DVD drive, because I don't want to get rid of my HD DVDs, because I've got a fair amount of them, and, I'd rather watch my HD DVDs. The only annoying part is getting the player software most of the time. That's about the only annoying thing that I do find with it. What else? Yeah, pretty much that. So yeah, this has been good. My tablet's been good. I have been mucking around with, well, I don't know. Lately I've had a bit of a cold, so I haven't really been, I've been doing a few things, but I've just sort of come back into doing advertising and getting back into my business stuff more now. And I'm getting a little better with things, but at the same time, just getting back into the swing of things is probably the hardest part, just being able to get back into things. Had a couple of repairs, but I thought them unreasonable to try and charge the customer, because it was just an unreasonable amount to charge the customer, mainly because they could probably go out and buy and invest in a new laptop, and it'd be cheap. It'd be cheaper for them in the long run to invest in a new laptop, just because of what needed replacing, basically an entire motherboard and an entire midsection screen and everything else. So yeah, I don't know. I love laptops, but a lot of them are very throwaway in the sense of being able to replace a screen and things of that nature. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Well, no, it is, okay, it's sort of easy to do the job if you know how to do it. Okay. It's not overly easy to do it either, but I mean, at the same time, it's more the case of, economically speaking, you're more likely... It's better in the long run if you just tell the customer to get a new laptop, because it's just going to be a better investment for them in the long term as things go. And in my mind, you know, I try to do what's best for the customer. I try to give the customer peace of mind, as well as I don't try to be too greedy either. I'd say there's a lot of companies, and not all companies, but there's a lot of companies that are a little too greedy with some things, to be honest. Okay, so anyway, what I've been mucking around with, as I said, what I'm sort of doing at the moment, or what I want to do, is replace that power supply, see if I can get a bit of power with a bit more grunt to it, something with a little more wattage. At the moment, the wattage I've got is about total in peak of it is about 1,100 watt in total. That's at peak efficiency, when it's running at peak efficiency. I don't think that's enough. The new one that I'm going to look towards, it's a special gold edition one. It's gold. I think it's just a gold. Pretty sure it's just gold, and not gold plus. I don't think it's gold plus, but it's gold rated. It's a Silverstone power supply. I have to actually get the name and brand of it. It's a Silverstone power supply, which I have not had a problem with my last Silverstone power supply, so I'm just going to stick with the brand that I can know and trust for the time being. This power supply hasn't given me any issues, this current one that I have, so, well, a couple of little issues, but that was only, I think it's only because I've realised now that I haven't quite got enough power to run the two cards. I have got enough power, but I don't know. See, I also have this situation where I don't know whether it's the actual power in my town either, like in Canberra in general, because the power company sometimes has an issue where there's not enough power going through the lines either. So that's another issue. So I don't know whether that might have happened once or twice, and that might have been the reason that something seemed like it wasn't getting enough power or shutting off or doing other things, or funny bits and pieces like that. But what I'm going to do anyway is I'm going to get 1,200 watt, and it's going to be, its peak efficiency is going to be 1,300 watt. That's the peak. Total output is 1,300 watt. That should keep me going. I was thinking of going, I was thinking of honestly going for something higher. I mean, it's just, you'd be surprised, I do have a lot in my rig, and I'm running an SLI setup. The extra power, of course, is required for SLI. Then you combine the fact that my CPU is power hungry to start with. So yeah, I do need the power. I mean, people can say it's no total overkill. No, it's not in my case. But I do feel what would be a bit of total overkill is 1,500 watt. Which I was looking at, and I was thinking, nah, that's a little too much. I honestly think at least 1,300 watt is fine. That will do me efficiently. That will keep me kicking over, and will keep things in a smooth way. What else? It's sort of a combination. I've been trying to do some YouTube videos. And I have got a couple up at the moment from my last time. So I did not a review. I did a gameplay of LA Noir, which should be going up shortly. It should be going up as soon as I finish encoding the video. So far, encoding going pretty well with the encoding part of it. It's just taking a little bit of time. Well, not a little bit of time at the moment. It's about 31% done. I think about the only thing that holds me back at the moment, my rig is fine for doing all the encoding work and stuff that I need to do, all the streaming work that I need to do, but the problem is my internet connection holds me back so much it's not funny. It holds me back badly because of the sense of just how much bandwidth I need for given things. The fact that I can't upload a 30 gigabyte or a certain amount of size file to YouTube, which is frustrating, of course. And yeah, that's just another thing that's frustrating. Can't do much about it, but as I said, I can't do much until they bring the NBN down to this part of Canberra, pretty much. Which is Canberra. There's a lot of designated places that got it in Gungahlin, but the further areas like Flory, Higgins, Charmwood, all these areas don't really have a lot in a way. No, just like no build commencements for the NBN at all. None have started whatsoever. So yeah, there's not even an indicator when it's going to be available. So and that's rather frustrating for me, to be honest. It's pissing me off, to be truthful. I fucking like better internet where I am, because it would make my job a lot easier in the sense of doing and putting my YouTube videos up. But I mean, okay, yes, okay, I got to encode my videos and I got to compress my videos, which is mostly a combination of things I have to do with a lot of my videos. Is either I have to compress them down to a certain size parameter, because they won't actually go online if I don't, which is rather fucking frustrating. I've got to say that's the most frustrating thing in the world. Where's my current videos? Current 2 videos I have for upload. Let's see. Well, they're not too badly sized. The 2 videos that I've got at the moment are not too badly sized. They're about 1.21 gig and 1.97 gig, which is not too bad. I don't know about the other video that I've got there, which is going to be a higher encoding level. It's going to be 4K. I don't know what's going to sort of go on with that one, and I don't know whether I'm going to be able to squeeze it all into where I should be able to squeeze it into. I'm hoping I can get it fixed, but well, I'm hoping that I can upload it pretty quickly. I'm hoping it's not going to be too much of a large file. If it is, I just have to compress the damn thing. But it is frustrating to compress files and have to compress them all the time. I'd rather just upload the file in certain RAW formats, because the RAW format always looks a lot better. Not that I have any problems with encoding files or re-encoding them, but the problem with re-encoding is it's just the time factor that it does take. And it's just, yeah, it's frustrating, and I mainly blame my internet for a lot of the fact that I've got to do so much encoding to my fucking videos that, well, I mean, as I said, now I've actually got attuned to doing it. Before I wasn't really attuned to actually doing it properly, and I wasn't really attuned to what settings I needed, specific things. Yeah, I just wasn't very attuned to it, and I was annoyed with it more than anything else, because it was just it was the amount of work required. But I mean, I guess, you know, to a certain extent, you have to put a bit of work into things in certain situations. So, you know, it happens. It's going to happen. What else? Well, I got L.A. Noir. Well, no, and you know what I mean. There's a good game anyway. One made by Rockstar. It's good. It's pretty cool. Been playing a lot of that. I played about an hour and 44 minutes of that. Recorded the whole session of the hour 44 minutes, so I'm going to put that up. What other stuff? Other stuff? Other stuff that I put up or will be putting up in the not too distant future. Obviously, when I do some more benchmarks, when I've actually got my power supply redone, which won't be for another week now from here. I will probably show a build of my client computer, which I use for clients and stuff. Which I'm gonna. There's a current computer, my current, or this desktop that I have for storing all clients stuff. You know, whether it be client files, backups, things like that. You know, making stuff like that. I've got a computer that makes a backup of everything, and basically, you know, does a combination, and that's called sort of the work computer, the kitchen work computer. Basically, it's near my workbench. I have to rebuild that into a new case, because I'm really shitted off with the old case, because there's just it's getting way too much dust in it, and it's just annoying the fuck out of me, to be truthful. It's annoying me mainly because that case, it's an old case. It was just a jerry-rig job, which I did before. I'd rather do a proper job where it ends up in a proper case, coverings on everything, proper fans, proper cooling. I mean, the cooling in there is not really that good to start with. It's not spectacular, and I mean, the case was pretty much a second-hand reconditioned case, and it just wasn't the greatest case. I mean, that's the reason I tend to build components back into a new case, because it makes things looks so much aesthetically better, and not just that, but sometimes you can actually make them perform better in some cases with older components, especially if they need to be cooler in certain situations. But I mean, to be honest, it's mostly just the dust factor with that kitchen computer, or that work computer, that I want to get rid of, to be truthful, because I'd rather rebuild it, strip everything out, rebuild it into a brand new case, which these particular cases I've been getting, these ones off eBay, they're about $60. Well, the ones I picked up anyways are $63. They're a nice Cooler Master case. They light up. They're functional. They look nice. They've got USB 3.0 in case you upgrade in the future. No, it doesn't matter if you don't really have it regardless, but I mean, they're a good case. They're a fantastic case. They're really, really nice. They can fit reasonable water cooling units, which one of the water cooling units I've got, which is the Cooler Master water cooling unit, 120, the Sidian 120 something, I think. I can't see it from here, but 120V. That one is good. I've been using that. I've used that for my nephew's computer. Those two water cooling kits. They're basic. I mean, they're basic water cooling kits. They're not designed to cool your advanced event stuff like my 9370, but they will cool the FX 8350 at stock speeds, and it will also cool. What sort of cool? It will also cool 83. So it will cool the 8350, AMD FX 8350, which it does a pretty good job with that too. That's pretty cool. Looks great. Cools nicely and runs well. So far my nephew's computer's been running well. I mean, aside from him doing any usual stuff ups that he might do, or viruses or whatever, for seeing any of that. But I had the exact same water cooling kit in my dad's computer. Same thing, it runs like a charm, it keeps the temperatures down. I've had a couple of teething issues, I think, because I got a new motherboard in it. I don't know, I have a suspicion, because I'm using a second-hand drive, that the drive might be failing, the main drive. I don't know though. It seems weird that the drive is all of a sudden now just decided to work. So, cross fingers that I don't have to replace it, but I mean, if worse comes to worse, I can replace it. I'll probably end up replacing it with a reconditioned drive anyway. So, yeah, I had an initial issue with that motherboard. My new motherboard works fine. It actually works fine. It's a good motherboard. Got USB 3.0 and everything else on it. It's an ASRock motherboard. I'll have to get the specific model number, but it's a nice little board for what I wanted to do for it. Because the original chip that I had from my dad's computer was a AMD Phenom 2 965, I think it was. I think that's the number. I think that was actually the number. It was a Phenom 2 anyways. A Phenom 2 chip, clocked at 3.4 gigahertz. Good chip. Just wasn't running as cool as I would have hoped with this stock cooler that I was using, that I got from China. Which, to be honest, wasn't cutting it in the sense of cooling that chip. And mind you, when I bought that chip, it was a black edition chip at the time, so it probably had some overclocking room and things like that that needed to be worked on with it and things of that nature. So what I've ended up doing with that, so I ended up putting water cooling in there, and away we go. Water cooling works. Everything works on the water cooling side of things. It's fantastic for that. So I'm pretty happy with that. Gets me going with that. Then I'm thinking to myself, okay, hold on a second. That's fixed up. Got my dad's computer fixed up. My nephew's computer fixed up. I figured the business or the kitchen computer or the work computer need to revamp, because to be honest, I've had to strip components out of that business, that kitchen computer, so many times, especially with swapping out things because I thought something was failing in my dad's computer, and it's a mess inside. No, don't get me wrong, I put it back together, but I put it back together like a skeleton. Basically, there's panels missing at the back where you have your dust panels where it catches all the dust and everything else. I basically just want to restart and reboot and just rebuild it back into a new case, and then I'll be happy. I'll be happy because then I'll have pretty much matching stuff in the entire house. I'll have a matching case that goes with my dad's, because pretty much my dad's is the same sort of Cooler Master case. I pretty much have all Cooler Master cases in the house except for my current case, which is the Phantom NEXT. My current one is a Phantom. Yep, it's an NEXT Phantom. And Jacob's one is an old Tsunami case, which, to be honest, I'm thinking of replacing at some point, in all honesty, because I think it would just be better if I did replace it. It would just be a lot better to replace it. Yeah. Just what's involved more. It's more a case of what's involved with doing it. I know that a few of the fans that don't work in the Tsunami, and that's bothered me because it doesn't actually have. I mean, it has adequate cooling for most of the stuff in there, but I mean, there's a few hard drives in there and things like that now, and I would honestly rather have it have its full cooling capacity. To change out the fan is a pain in the ass, so I just thought, fuck it, at some point I will actually get a new case. It is just so much easier to rebuild it into a new case. The only difference with Jacob's, or my nephew Jacob's computer, is I will most likely, in most cases, I'm going to probably with him use a different case. I won't use like the cases that I've been using for my dad's and the kitchen and the business computer. They are both gaming cases, yes, but they are both micro/ATX cases, so they fit micro boards and ATX boards. They're not an extended, they don't fit any type of extended board. I may try to get something a bit bigger for my nephew that's got a little more grunt to it, a little more spec to it. Of course, I'll have to find out exactly what case I'm looking for, but it'll probably be, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I haven't made a decision on the case that I'm going to build my nephews back into, my nephew Jacob's. I want to build my nephew Lachlan's into another case, because his case is just really flimsy in general. So it's not the greatest case in the world. It's just generally not. It's this cheap one from China, I think it is. To be honest, I've been buying a lot of Cooler Master cases, and I've been selling a lot of Cooler Master cases, and I haven't had any issues with them, with the cooling, in the sense of cooling, combinations of things of that nature. I haven't had any issues with it, and that's absolutely wonderful, because every computer I've built so far has always been very, very stringent, especially with this Cooler Master case. Cooling is very adequate. You've got hard drive cooling, back fan cooling, back fan cooling, you've got a fair few cooling spots. On top of that, you can actually stick a fan on the top if you want. There's a couple of fan spots on the top. There's also a fan area on the side if you want to stick extra fans, and I've always got extra fans lying around regardless. So, you know, yeah, it's fantastic. So, yeah, that's pretty much my project, to rebuild the kitchen, the work computer, rebuild the work computer, and get it functioning again, get it kicking over. I mean, the only thing I'm considering is maybe getting a different heatsink. The temperatures are actually quite good on this. It's an Intel one. It's an Intel 775 socket. With that one, the temperatures are actually really good on it. It only runs about 26 degrees. Yeah, something like 26 degrees or something like that. And it's not a very high temperature most of the time, so it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I could put water cooling in it, but I mean, it's only, I don't know, it's sort of a toss-up. If I have enough money, yes, I will get water cooling in, put water cooling in it. Between the space that's available, building into that case, yeah, probably most likely I will put water cooling into it. I've already got water cooling in 2 computers in the house, so why not a third? Why not the third have water cooling as well? As I said, I don't know, I'm becoming more attuned to having water cooling, or putting water cooling units in, because it just makes sense in the long term. It makes your components last a lot longer. It's a lot more zero maintenance time. Generally, when you're dusting things off and doing stuff like that, it's mostly just got to dust off the components. You don't really have to change your CPU out as often, things like that. Water cooling's a little more it's a little more stable. It's a lot more stable and a lot more better temperatures than, say, for example, your classic fan air cooler. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I've just thought, that's my project. I'm pretty much going to rebuild that. What else was I going to do? I'm going to rebuild that, which was on the top of my mind. Get a new power supply, which is, I'm working on that at the moment. Trying to relax a little bit, but at the same time trying to do my business stuff a little bit. I've been volunteering my time at CCA Charity Computers. So people, if they're in the local Canberra area, please do drop down to CCA or Tech Shed. I call it the Tech Shed or the Charity Computers. Great place. You can get recycled machines and everything else. They also do cheap repairs, like cheaper than what I would actually do myself. They tend to charge just one fixed rate on a certain level, and they won't go above that rate. On the other hand, me is different. Like, I'll charge $40 per hour, and it's how many hours I'll work on the machine. Like $40 per hour if it's somebody on a pension card or somebody who's, you know, on a low income. Then it's $65 an hour if it's somebody on a higher income bracket. And that's how many hours I work on the machine, basically. So yeah, they also need donations. Donations of computers, reconditioned computer components, old components, new components. Well, whatever you have, really. I mean, if you're willing to part with it in Canberra, feel free to drop down, say hello to them. They're always there to acknowledge the parts. I'm there teaching my nephew at the moment. I come in every Friday, which I have pretty much been coming in every Friday so far. I haven't had anything foreseeable that's really stopped me from coming in. I mean, I had a couple of health issues before and my own business stuff that will occasionally stop me from going in. I've been helping them out, volunteering my time to help them out with stuff, repairs, you know, just fixing general stuff. And I mean, they're linked to the Christian Life Centre pretty much. It's part of the Christian Life Centre. I'm sure I had the shirt to show you, but I think I've chucked it in the wash. The Christian Life Centre is they're pretty much part of that, and they're a technical department of it, pretty much. So yeah, they work with anybody who sort of has those technical skills. They're also looking for volunteers as well, and people who want to help out and things like that. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it, YouTube. I'll probably just leave it at that for the time being, because I think I've covered everything pretty much I need to cover for the moment. Yeah. Yep. I'll just leave it there. Thank you very much. Do stay tuned. Got more videos up. More videos coming up. Obviously, at a later date, which obviously I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll probably be doing some more gameplay stuff as well. Maybe some Xbox stuff. Probably doing some Xbox, me just making commentary and being stupid and weird, and you know, it's always funny. Okay. Thank you. Bye, YouTube.